So they invested into like a AAA title or whatever the case may be. And apparently that shit was garbage. Straight garbage. Nobody played it. Either nobody played it or it never came out. Either way, it was garbage. And you know how Google does. Google, if they don't see a return on that shit within 5 minutes, man, they up out of there. So this shouldn't be a shock to nobody. I just feel bad for a couple of my friends. I remember a couple of my friends was like, oh yeah, man, I can't wait for this to drop. This is going to be dope. Right. And we're back, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Atreus. I'm coming at you live from the ATL, bringing you more gaming entertainment, news, commentary, and analysis. And today, we got to talk about Stadia. This shit is garbage. After the drop. What makes you think that I'm an answer if you ain't mine? Even if you call me up on honey. All right, team. So y'all already know what time it is. Go ahead and hit the like button, the red subscribe button, and let me know that you subscribe. Following me on Twitter so I can follow you back. I'm only following my subscribers. I guess we got to up the ante. 600. We're looking to get 600 subscribers by the end of October. All right. So let's see if we can do that. Let's go ahead and jump into the news. Say it ain't so. Say it ain't so. Google is shutting down Stadia, its cloud gaming service. Now, if y'all don't remember what Stadia is, Google basically wanted to get into the video game industry, and they thought that their key to getting into it was to screw making a console. Let's just provide a cloud service for people to access and play through the internet. We don't need none of that clunky console shit that y'all doing. But as you can tell, it has backfired. So let's read what they had to say. Google has announced it's winding down its Stadia video game streaming service and will shut it down on January 18th, 2023. In a new blog, the search engine company revealed that Stadia hasn't gained the traction with users that we expected, and as a result, the company has made the difficult decision to begin winding down the service. Google will be refunding users who purchased either hardware or games from Google and Stadia. That's good. At least they're self-aware to know that they need to refund people. And this is what happens. This is what happens when you try to predict the future when it's not necessary, right? Xbox made this same mistake back in 2013 when they announced the Xbox One. Xbox called themselves trying to predict the future. They thought streaming services was the future. As far as movies and TV shows and stuff like that, because they saw what Netflix was doing. So they thought TV was the future. Instead of focusing on video games, PlayStation was like, y'all do realize we had a fucking video game convention, right? I mean, far be it from me to offend anybody, but this is what happens when you actually make video games. And they kicked Xbox's ass, man. And so Google pretty much did the same thing. They assumed that we were heading towards a future where people was going to be playing video games not on consoles anymore. And this shit didn't work. But it's not the stream, the service itself isn't bad. It's the fucking business model. We'll get to that in a moment. We're grateful to the dedicated Stadia players that have been with us from the start. We will be refunding all Stadia hardware purchases made through the Google Store and all game and add-on content purchases made through the Stadia Store. Players will be able to access their game library, and they'll be able to play until January 18th. Excuse me. So, if you remember, when they first released, they wanted you to pay $130 for their hardware bundle, which it came with a controller and like 3 months of Stadia and whatever the case may be. That was, and so they wanted you to pay $130. Then they wanted you to pay $10 a month. Oh, and by the way, you still have to pay for the games. So basically what you were paying for, you were paying monthly to not have a console. That's basically what you was paying for. Because at least with something like Game Pass, which I have, Game Pass, all of the games on there, you just download it. You don't pay for them. You pay for in-game content, but you don't pay for the games. All right. With Game Pass, you get access to Xbox Live, playing online, all that stuff, and you get Game Pass and stuff like that. Communicating with your friends. Oh, and by the way, xCloud. Now, the thing about it is the cloud stuff, like, it works. It's not meant to be a primary service. Right now, it's just a complementing service. And that's why xCloud is so successful and Stadia wasn't. Because xCloud supplements the Game Pass service and not the main thing, right? I don't use xCloud a lot because, quite frankly, while it works pretty well, man, you got to be in a good area. And I got 5G ultra wideband. You got to be in a good area. It's based on the idea that you're going to be sitting in a good area with good connection for a while. You use it at home or use it anywhere else on the Wi-Fi. Oh, that's great. If you're at your friend's house, you want to log in and play, great. And they got Wi-Fi and all of that. Maybe you're in the airport, they got Wi-Fi, whatever the case may be. Sure, fine. But if you're not, bro, that lag, that input lag, the buffering and all that shit is garbage. Let's see what people on Twitter had to say. Let's see what they had to say on Twitter. I imagine people are roasting this. Let's see. Did anyone actually use this? Pretending to be shocked. Wait, the Stadia that worked by a subscription model, even though you had to buy every single title. The Stadia that had barely any games. The Stadia that threw millions of dollars for big AAA titles to be licensed. Who could have seen that coming? Oh, yeah. What was the name of the game that because they needed an exclusive. Your console or your platform won't work unless you have an exclusive. Like, you have to give people an incentive to come and play on your platform. So they invested into like a AAA title or whatever the case may be. And apparently that shit was garbage. Straight garbage. Nobody played it. Either nobody played it or it never came out. Either way, it was garbage. And you know how Google does. Google, if they don't see a return on that shit within 5 minutes, man, they up out of there. So this shouldn't be a shock to nobody. I just feel bad for a couple of my friends. I remember a couple of my friends was like, oh yeah, man, I can't wait for this to drop. This is going to be dope. Right. But y'all let me know what y'all think. Hit me up on Twitter, Instagram, whatever. Continue the conversation there. I'm going to holler at y'all later. Deuce. Crazy,